So diastasis I only learned quite recently. The Latin root comes from dia, which also appears in words like dialysis or dialogue, diagnosis, which means moving through or move completely through something, and stasis, which means to stand. So diastasis means to move through a stance, or in other words, the actual meaning now is to separate. So to basically move your stance. So diastasis recti abdominis is a separation of the two halves of the rectus abdominis. And the rectus abdominis muscle, as you know, is the six-pack muscle that goes down the front of your tummy. And it has two halves. It has a left half and a right half. And each of those is a rectus, or straight muscle. And the plural is recti. So there are two. And the diastasis recti abdominis refers to a separation of the two halves of the rectus abdominis muscle. And that happens to women who've never been pregnant. It happens to men, but overwhelmingly commonly it happens to pregnant women. So we're going to talk about that, particularly in relation to pregnancy. And the effects of these muscles, the rectus abdominis and the transversus abdominis, and the relationship with the abdominal fascia, and how that they influence diastasis rectus abdominis. The last thing I'd like to say, just to set the stage before we really get into the anatomy, is that in diastasis, the abdominal aponeurosis, the mid part of the fascia in the middle of the abdomen, is called the linea alba. Linea means line and alba means white, so it's just the white line. And it's not a white line that's visible from the outside, but on a cadaver you can see a white line because it's made of connective tissue, like it is essentially a tendon. And so the linea alba, the white line, separates, diastasis, separates. But I think a lot of people get the wrong sort of picture in their head when they hear that word separation. I think probably separation is not the best word, because the linea alba does not part. It does not lose its integrity, or put more clearly, it does not. There's no hole in the middle. It remains in one piece. It merely stretches. So when you picture a diastasis recti abdominis, don't think about a hole in there. Think about a balloon that is expanding, and as the balloon expands, it stretches. And that's in fact what happens to the linea alba in diastasis recti abdominis, which is it stretches. It doesn't actually, lose its structural integrity.